Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of a Friday Smudcast, number 614. Yes, Ray is a Mary Sue if you have a broken garbage brain. Interesting. So, we are watching apparently two blacklisted people on YouTube that we don't cover anymore for obvious reasons.
Yes, it's
And
both Mr. Soy Boy, actual fandom, and Turf Nation, which speaks for himself.
I thought we also blocked Dane.
Dane's who I'm talking about.
Okay, I thought you meant.
I think he nowadays
Dane-
runs
Dane
by
is-
actual fandom or something.
Dane is actual fandom, yeah.
Okay, and Organized Chaos was a guy I saw a week or two ago. What did that was he was responding to, which was goofy and weird. And it's like, dude, are you sure about that? And I think it was either a YouTube short video, and it just sounded so awkward. And he just had the last 5 seconds where he says something. I'm like, that's not right. So he must have done that before. I don't know what it was though. It was so forgetful. But hey, you got these three guys in a call. Let's see what they have to say. So we're doing a video that was just came out 12 days ago. It has less than 1,000 views from the Fandom Initiative. And the downvotes are 65. The upvotes are 72. Not too many comments on the video, but it's not too popular video, so obviously. Not sure what they're going to say. I'm going to assume, as I've barely watched a few seconds, just to refresh my memory of who these guys were, that they probably haven't defined the term. They probably haven't said what it is, and they're just sort of saying, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. Ray is not a Mary Sue because I said so, as opposed to having a strict criteria for Mary Sue. Because if you guys don't know Mary Sue, it's a gigantic term in fan fiction. And there's multiple definitions. They all sort of overlap, whether you're talking about how strong a Mary Sue character is, whether they're a character insert, whether everything revolves around them. There's all these definitions, there's all these terms, there's all these flavors. So in the description below, I put the little charts from TV Tropes. I don't know if it's a chart, just a list of all the traits based off like personality, abilities, powers, all that stuff that you can refer to that would answer a lot of questions about Ray. So think of Ray and then randomly choose one of these traits in that list and think about a scene where that occurs. And more often than not, I'd say 90% of the time, you will find her exhibiting one of those traits, which is why I didn't bother to make a video about it, because it's so obvious. Now it feels like I should have to make a video because what is going on? People think she's still not a Mary Sue. That's bizarre. We've had years and years of arguing this and showing this. And
Yeah, at least over half a decade now.
8 years.
8 years.
Force Awakens came out in 2017.
Wow.
I mean, 2015.
15, yeah.
15, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and I can do a whole part miniseries on just each section with its personality, the name, the how she's presented as a character, her accessories, all these, like her appearances, all these things. She hits the mark. I would say on a scale probably 80% of the time. There's probably a few things like there's no musical instruments, like she doesn't have a natural talent for singing or something like that. So,
Yeah, but like those are not like plot relevant.
no.
I feel like for everything that like Ray has to be good at, she is good at.
Yeah, and she's either makes a mistake on the first try and then gets a bullseye the second. So it's like she learns instantly. And that could have worked within the narrative, believe it or not, if she was this prodigy or she was this chosen one or whatever. There's all kinds of stupid stories in Star Wars where you have Force users that can do amazing things, but they never explained it. They just said, "Oh, she's the daughter of Palpatine." You're like, so? Does that mean?
Even though like the Last Jedi was building up that like she's a complete nobody.
Well,
they just dropped it entirely.
That's the other problem with the storytelling, is the trilogy is written by different writers and directed by different directors. They just do their own thing, and you're like, I'm lost, which even compounds the fact that she's this nobody who's also born of the most evil person in the world. So it's like, yeah, that's not unheard of. That happens all the time. Yeah, she's totally normal. Yeah, okay.
That's like kind of funny because like I think like part of the sequel trilogy was written by, at least like Force Awakens was by Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire, and it's just for someone like him of his stature, like it just doesn't make any sense that he would write something garbage as Force Awakens, because
Such a betrayal.
like the Empire had like so many much that like it built up like Star Wars, like as we know it. Because like the first movie is really good. I would like maybe argue that like it definitely has like a spot that like which one is the best. But Empire is like what established Star Wars for what it is today. Like it established like so many things like the Force and like how the logic of the world works. And like the I am your father moment is just like so memorable and iconic. And then like they put together like some garbage like the sequel trilogy. Like the foundation of the entire trilogy is just like a farce. It was dead on arrival.
Yeah. Okay, let's get going. Here's a super chat from Vladimir. Thank you, sir. Found out that Elvis had a daughter yesterday, and also she died yesterday. Yeah, that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Oh damn, yeah.
She was like only 54.
Wow.
It's not even like that old.
Yes, that's what happens. Life can just happen, and you should take care of your affairs when you get to certain ages. Even now, like I don't know about people investing. One of the strange things that when I learned to invest is like, do you have a will? And I'm like, what are you talking about, a will? I'm just putting money into stocks. Why do I need a will? It's like, well, you have to think about that. It's like, oh, okay. And then you have to think about, oh, I should worry about funeral arrangements as well. Like all these things that just start popping up, and insurance, life insurance, like all these things you're going to start thinking about, even if you're not concerned about. I know today everyone's concerned about food prices and gas prices and keeping warm during the winter and keeping your job and all that jazz. But eventually time will catch up with you. So keep that in mind. Not that I'm selling insurance. I'm just saying it sounds like a...
It's perfectly... This episode was sponsored by Insurance.
Fidelity Insurance. Yeah, I have no idea. Anyway, this is a 13.5-minute video of these geniuses talking about how Mary Sue is... Or how Rey is not a Mary Sue. Here we go.
Oh boy, are they gonna explain the original Mary Sue?
They have to. They have to start somewhere. They explain the original. They give me a definition, or give me an off-the-cuff statement of what they think it is. I don't care. Give me something to work with, and then we can go. Because they can think Mary Sue is a carrot. And you're like, okay, that's wrong. But if that's your definition, then you could logically argue that. That's fine. So
well, I'm gonna give like an open mind to this and like just listen. Like, well, what's the angle in this?
Exactly. Here we go.
None whatsoever, as usual.
All right, what do you guys think about talking about a Mary Sue? The concept of a Mary Sue.
That's always fun. We can dive into that. Not that many of them. There's no.
Yeah, I mean,
there's not that many Mary Sues, really. Okay. I mean,
maybe we haven't been watching the same channel.
That's strike one.
Okay, we have so many subtypes of Mary Sues. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna put another link. I'll put in the chat this time for the subtypes. Now, subtypes come from actual instances of Mary Sue, so you can imagine how many there are. So check that out, and you can see all the flavors of Mary Sue, the anti-Mary Sue, the black hole Sue, the canon Sue, the copycat Sue, etc., etc. Just go down the list, and you can go into those categories, and they will have examples to actual stories, movies, whatever, of that. So go crazy. And it's fine that they don't know that. It's fine. They're ignorant. No problem. You don't have to know everything. But if you're going to talk about a topic, you should be prepared. Anyway.
Apparently they're everywhere.
Oh boy, an intro.
Not bad.
This guy, he was making the rounds on Twitter, which is what he intended to do, because you look at his bio and he's clearly trying to sell some fucking grifty courses on ghostwriting or whatever. Certified hypnotist in the world. What is that? What the fuck does that mean?
Okay, so we're attacking someone's Twitter profile. I mean, okay, it's not the greatest thing to do, but fine. Okay, you don't like his Twitter profile.
It's nothing new at this point, but yeah.
Usual.
Definitely sounds like somebody who shouldn't be trusted.
Whose voice is that? Is that Turf Nation?
No, that's organized chaos.
That's Bob.
Oh my God, something's okay. Fine, no, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm good. We're good.
Yep, moving on. Yeah.
I mean,
I am the hypnotist in the world.
Yeah. I mean, like, we're all in the world. You don't need to add that. That's kind of just implied by anything. Like,
Yeah.
I'm driving
I'm
my
the
car in the world.
I'm the
I was-
best
I was-
hypnotist on Mars. Twist. Twin.
All right, so here we see a character who has completed her arc, but at the start of her story. Ben Solo trains in combat his whole life. Rey is a mechanic. The first time they fight, she slays his ass. That's not how an antagonist versus protagonist first battle is supposed to go.
Yes,
All right,
correct.
so I counted
Yeah.
like 7 things wrong with just these couple statements.
7.
How about you guys?
Okay, list them.
Yeah.
Like years ago, I made a video on exactly this fight and explaining why it's like the arguments against it is bullshit. For
I think I've seen it.
Hey, he switched lightsaber colors. I noticed.
Oh, cool. Yeah. But like,
Just bring it back.
like, there's so much wrong. The film makes such a clear effort to nerf Kylo Ren,
Mm-hmm.
right? The movie knows, right? If these two people went up against each other, like equally, Kylo Ren would win.
Mm-hmm.
So why did he lose? Because he was nerfed. There was this. Okay, this entire.
Because he got shot.
Okay.
And even though like he got shot, he perfectly was capable of sparring with renegade soldier from the same empire that he comes from.
Okay, yeah, but they're fighting, and he's hobbled, and half the fight he's winning. He's like pushing Rey down. Like he didn't score a hit, but he's overpowering her. This is while he's injured and bleeding and whatever.
And then suddenly like Rey just says the Force,
The Force.
and she just becomes super powerful.
Yeah, she gets a 1-up, or she gets a what is a magic mushroom from Super Mario.
It's kind of like she was like leveling up the entire movie, and then like she just decides to spend all her points in strength and dexterity. That's kind of like how I imagine it. And then she gets like a health boost as well, because like you're playing a BioWare rules.
She's a min-max character at this point.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
going
much.
to your status screen and going the Force. Oh yeah, I have unspent talent points. Let me just pump that into.
Yeah,
The Force.
finally the prestige class.
No, I'm just like the Force. It says the Force, an instant like 30 level ups.
Literally it says like the Force.
Like, I don't know what you mean. What is that? Question mark. And then I overpower you. Okay.
But it's Kylo that tells her, by the way. So Kylo dug his own grave.
Yeah, maybe if you said the pinata, he should be like, the pinata? And nothing would happen.
It just suddenly a
Dios
birthday
mío.
party materializes between them, or something.
Okay, here is I got a donation from Chick Hydro, Illinois. Okay. Organized Chaos did a few videos on Rags and tries to get him to debate him. Oh boy. But he keeps accusing him of being a coward and retreating, like OC's hairline. Don't expect a lot from the guy. If he was any more dim, Sam Fisher would be hiding in him.
What?
I don't get it.
If he was any more dim, Sam Fisher would be hiding in him. Okay. Because he capitalized the word dim, and I was like, is that a name? Is that dim sum? What are you talking about?
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, no, these guys are a little hard to listen to, but that's fine. That's okay. We're listening to their arguments, not the tone of their voice.
We see multiple times throughout the movie, right? What a Wookiee bowcaster does to like stormtroopers, right? It sends them fucking flying. It blows up the earth. Kylo Ren gets shot.
Okay, and we know from the movie that the bowcaster has multiple settings, and whatever the story wants, the bowcaster does. So in that case, it did not blow a gigantic hole in Kylo Ren. It did hurt him, and he was hobbled, but he's still fighting, and he's still walking around, and et cetera, et cetera. So
Indeed.
the story is actively keeping him alive so he could have a villain guy in story. And you can call that weakening him, sure, but he's still winning the fight. And losing the force pull with the lightsaber as well. He was scared when that lightsaber whipped across the snow or whatever. He was grabbing for it too. He ducked out of the way for some silly reason. He bent his back like, ah. So Rey is already stronger in the Force than he is. But he's hobbled or something.
Well, I remember Mark Hamill was telling that, like, oh, I thought that's going to be my entrance to the movie.
Right.
No.
It's Rey.
That's right.
She didn't even finish her training. Yeah, okay, whatever.
On Dagobah, yeah. That was hilarious.
One of these, right? He's just killed his father, right? And I know all this, like, oh, hate and pain makes Sith stronger, right? Fucking Kylo Ren is not a Sith yet, right?
Yes, he is. He's a Sith.
He's not? Why is he then?
He's confused. What is he? So he kills his dad. He uses his anger to keep him walking and going. Blah de blah. But he's not a Sith. Okay, fine. Whatever that.
helps sleep at night.
Whatever you say. He's a good guy for sure.
Good guy, Kylo Ren.
Right? He's in fucking turmoil at this point, right?
So he is in turmoil. He's using his emotions to be stronger. Okay, thank you. Great. Good to know.
Is
Never
there
really
something
becomes
we
a
agree
Sith
on?
in the sense that the Sith
Yeah.
used to strive to anyway.
Exactly, right? And like there's so much other things, right? And it's like oh, he should have disarmed Finn right away. You see him right after like a couple swings, he forces Finn to the ground, right? And then he walks away. He's toying with him, right?
Well, he slices his back, but yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah, he's toying with him, which suggests that he has enough strength to just fucking destroy him.
Which he does, but not completely because apparently Finn survived because story. So.
Yeah, spine, no.
Spines, you can just repair those, no problem. What a great narrative this wonderful story is. Slice spines open with a plasma blade or something.
Yeah.
No big deal.
A new exoskeleton, like, why does it cost anyway?
You just dunk him in a tank, you'll be fine.
Back to?
No, the criticisms of a Finn fight drive me nuts because like he's clearly toying with him. He's clearly far more powerful. He doesn't even view Finn as worth his time.
Oh wait, so you're saying that Kylo Ren's really powerful? Okay, good to know.
Yes, that is what it's coming to. This is terrible.
So Kylo Ren is really powerful, but Rey beats him. Okay, that's good to know. Glad we're seeing eye to eye so far.
And then because of that, like ignorance, right? Like Finn gets like a lucky shot on his shoulder, right? And then the second half, and then as he does that, right? Then Kylo Ren disarms him like it's nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
okay, so Kylo Ren is superior to Finn. Okay, we agree. You're right. Okay.
Like Kylo gets one hit, and then he decides to like, okay, let's finish this, and he has no problem to like start fighting against Rey. It's just like.
Yeah, he's smashing his chest where he got shot. Like it's like, oh, I'm tough. Okay, you are. Yeah.
That fight is nothing. And then like, and the whole time while they're fighting, even with all this like nerfs and shit, Rey is still on the back foot, right? Kylo Ren is chasing him the whole time. In the end, right, when they're like their lightsabers are locked.
So Kylo is beating Rey. You're saying he's winning the fight. Okay, good.
Right? Like, come join me. He could kill her easily, right?
Yeah, we agree. Yeah, he's very powerful.
Completely.
He lets down his guard, right? He's like, I can teach her. He tries to get her to his side, right? And then that's when she gets like she uses the Force. She catches him off guard.
What? She uses what now? The Force? How did she do that, buddy? She just says the word Force and then she powers up like she gained 20 levels in an RPG.
Like she finally selects the prestige class that she needs to progress to.
Unlock
Force points are
unlock hero skill like Dunn. Okay.
Hero skill. Pick up Force push. Level 3.
So either he's overpowering her or he's not. Which one is it? Is he stronger than her or not? Because if he's stronger than her, he would stop her. But he can't. Oh boy.
Hard, right? Rey isn't just like a nobody. Rey isn't just a mechanic. She's been fighting a lot of
with a stick, with a wrench, whatever you want to call that pipe she's got.
Staff, I guess.
Staff pipe. I don't know.
A staff is a completely different weapon than a sword.
Exactly. We've had this argument before. It's like, well, it's very similar. You swing it. Yeah, it's a swinging weapon. A lightsaber, you can cut flesh instantly. It's a bit different.
maybe not with a sword, right? But with her staff, right? We see her in the beginning of.
Maybe not with the sword.
Sword.
Come on.
Maybe a nunchuck. Yeah, a nunchuck would be pretty easy compared to a lightsaber. A nunchuck, you spin around. You might.
Oh, well, why not? But I love this turf dude. Like every time he opens his mouth, he makes another argument of why this is bullshit. He's telling us, he's giving a very good description of why this fight is just making her the biggest mercy.
Why Rey is even bigger. Oh, she knows how to use the staff. It's just like a sword. It's like, okay.
So, like, she knows how to use the Force. Like,
she just does. Thanks, buddy. Really, really selling your argument.
Hi, Whisp.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, how's it going, Whisp? We're listening to these wonderful gentlemen explain how Rey is not a Mary Sue by showing us how powerful she is. It's amazing.
I think we don't really have to add any commentary to this. We can just play the video.
I was gonna say
I already missed the fish, and now I miss half of this.
Oh, it's amazing.
Only a quarter of it. You still have 3/4 left.
I was gonna say, so naturally, Smud gives them way too much credit early on.
If they want to hype up Rey, I mean, that's great. I love it. Just go for it.
They're still wrong.
Oh, it's like look how bright and amazing Rey is. She's not that strong, but look her defeat this guy who's nerfed, even though he was more stronger than her about 2 seconds ago. But now she's not because Rey knows how to fight with a staff, but that's completely translatable to his sword. And I was like, okay, thank you, Mary Sue.
The usual stupidity, yes.
It's amazing. All right.
The movie, three or four bad guys, right? Clearly, she has some skill in fighting with a weapon.
So she's really good at fighting at it, and she can translate that completely to a lightsaber. Okay, sure. It's great. I love it.
So many reasons why it makes sense.
My comment about it was, first of all, did he not watch the rest of the movie? Did he just read a summary then skip to the final battle?
Did you guys watch the movie? That's the question.
Okay, he's comparing the fight at the beginning of the movie when Rey gets hauled up by two guys who are especially hunting for her because she was stealing the droid. Yeah, that's the BB-8. Yeah, that's the plan. And then we compare it to a military general. That's pretty much what Kylo is in the first story, isn't he?
Right.
He's like a general character. So that battle experience compared to that other one. And Kylo has been probably hunting Jedi as well with his masked buddies or whatever.
And this is where a definition would really help us. When we talk about that scene where she's fighting off two guys to protect BB-8, that's one of the traits of the Mary Sue is that she's nice to all living things, to all creatures, great and small. So it's she's doing her Mary Sue thing of protecting a robot that she can magically talk to and repair and fix and all this, who happens to be magically involved with the plot, and she just happens to be there. It's incredible. She's the Mary Sue, and you don't even know the definition. Then they're giving it to us. It's great, fantastic. Anyway, Vladimir, hey, how's it going again? But remember that a staff is a sword-like weapon. Yes, there we go. they're completely the same, guys. They're totally the same. Oh, anyway.
Both of them have edges. And they hurt people if they touch them.
They are technically weapons, yes. They are melee weapons. You're right. 4 minutes, and we're just having a great time.
And, also, where's the other part? Luke is more of a Mary Sue than Rey.
Okay, what aboutism? Here we go.
What?
Yes.
Let's go.
Wait. Why does he block replies? Only him and his followers can answer him. That's wonderful. He's asking a question, and he refuses anyone to answer him who isn't in his ilk. You see this, right?
Yeah.
You can reply people. Yeah, he blocked replies.
Is that the Twitter account of the guy?
Yeah, that's his own Twitter account. And he blocks replies that are not coming from his followers.
Oh, man.
So He's gonna read this probably tweet about Luke being a Mary Sue than Ray. That's gonna be great. Here we go.
Okay, like the only guy who can answer is the person who made the tweet. Oh, that is terrible. Why would you do something like this?
Ego.
All right.
No survival skills. He was basically just, I mean, yeah, he worked on a moisture farm. Like, okay, so he probably has some resistance to, just, I don't know. He's probably got some backbone or whatever, like farm.
So he's a farmer. You're saying
He is a farmer, and like all he can do is that like he can maybe protect the farm from sand people, and he's really good pilot. That's established at the very beginning of the movie. Obi-Wan states the obvious at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah, he can shoot at little targets at long range, and he can pilot things.
And that's all he's good at. And he keeps sucking. Like every single time he gets beaten up by the sand people, he gets thrown away in the bar. He almost gets killed during the Death Star fight. It's just like that's why Luke is a good character. He keeps failing, but at the same time, like he's always on the edge. And he saves the day. And his mentor has to tell him several times to use the Force. And like he needs to be told these things because he's just starting out. Rey doesn't have any help. She just figures these things out all by herself.
Yeah, there was many scenes where Luke's about to die, and the famous one is where Han comes out of nowhere, where I think Darth Vader's about to stop Luke in his X-wing, and Han is okay. Kid,
not even Obi-Wan can stop that.
Yeah, so just out of nowhere, Han saves Luke. So Han is like the hero's hero. He's saving Luke from his demise. So Luke is pretty weak in almost every scene, especially in the first film.
And that's what makes him
in the
relatable.
second film, I believe there's like 3-year skip that happens chronologically. Yeah,
between movies, yes.
But him being some average dude who's not super competent at everything, that's what makes him relatable. It's the guy who's starting out, and like any one of us going on an adventure, especially at that age, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna run into a lot of walls because you don't know how the world works.
And that's a perfect setup for a quest story, to have a character who's innocent or undeveloped or just is going to lose. And
it is the perfect everyman archetype.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he's like, well, hero's journey. The entire Star Wars is based on that.
Right, exactly. So we get it. It's clear. With Rey, we see almost the exact opposite. She is just competent because the story needs her to be. And there's no reason. There could have been a reason. Like they talk about her being a scavenger and therefore a mechanic, but those two don't quite line up properly. They could, but she just is a genius at all the things. She could just fix things instantly. She pulls things out. She closes doors. She knows which button to press. Or if she screws up the first time, she immediately solves it the second. She misses a shot with a blaster. She immediately hits a 50-yard shot the second time. Everything is just, and she is even impressed when she looks at the gun. She goes, "I just did that? Like, what the hell?" Like, it's as if the Force is like just unconsciously working through her, and she has no idea what she's doing. It's kind of silly at times.
Yes, but as Han himself said, that's not how the Force works.
we don't know how the Force works anymore.
It was the only good line in that movie, and it was so bloody ironic.
And it's emblematic of this entire trilogy.
Yes.
That was like the only time when I was in the cinema, I was like, oh my god, the movie is self-aware.
The movie is admitting its biggest fault.
Yeah,
literally.
It seems to me like you can interpret this thing with Rey as her just being the player character of the self-insert Mary Sue, and the self-insert Mary Sue, she would act like this. I hit the people with this thing. Oh, I'm looking at it in astonished fashion.
Yeah, it's not like the argument is
not a real person.
Yeah, it's not like a wizard did it or a wizard helped her. It's literally the force of magic itself is causing Rey to be awesome.
And she is the wizard.
Well, I wish you could say that, but yeah. Anyway. Anyway, these guys are in their own world, so let's keep going with what they're saying.
You don't say.
Worker back. But he didn't have to. Rey was literally a small child when she started having to fend for herself. On a fucking very hostile planet. She was dismantling Star Destroyers for scraps to feed herself. She was defending herself. You know, who knows how many times as a child and teenager she had to fight off some fucking asshole or group of assholes that were trying to get her.
Okay, so she's street smart, you're saying. She knows how to defend herself. Fair enough. Yes?
Streets and like a military environment is completely different.
Is this his headcanon, or is this some backstory that they wrote after the movie?
Well, they're trying to connect the dots.
They show in the movie, it's like a brief flash, like when she gets the lightsaber, he has that brief vision of her being abandoned on the on Jakku.
Right.
Yeah, but that doesn't say anything, because this little place on Jakku, which is all we see of Jakku, I think. Is it
In this, I think it is. I think it is just the in terms of Jakku, that is all we see of it. Yes, you are right.
Okay, so it's like these place that feels like just 5 tents and a kiosk.
It's literally just discount Tatooine. That's it.
Well, the logical deduction is that
Tatooine is at least a city.
Because
that thing just like nothing.
Yeah, but because of that flashback, it's like, okay, so what's that Ungar plot, whatever that guy's name is? He pulls her away when she's saying don't go, and her parents take off in a spaceship.
Oh, the merchant guy, it's like that's played by Simon Pegg.
Exactly, that guy. The assumption these guys are making, well, from there, she was just by herself as an orphan, and you're like, okay, you could make that deduction, but that's not what happened. We don't know what happened. The story doesn't show us.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you can take that, you can make that assumption based on what we're shown. It's not exactly what it is.
Yeah, we don't know. That's the problem. So
we're not getting the whole picture. You are right.
Yeah, so you could start with that premise, but then you have to like really lead into that to explain why is she she would be way rougher. She would be way more grisly than just this soft, demure girl in the desert getting instant bread packs. Soup packs, whatever, from
that's the
for finding scrap like that. Her life would be a little bit different than what she looks like, how she's dressed, her physique. A lot like scarring. There'd be all kinds of things going on. Malnourishment, maybe. I don't know. Lots of things. So it does that does not connect to the present very well. There's a big hole in her past, and we don't know what it is.
If you only buy these crab rations for scrap you collect,
you're
gonna be malnourished.
Yeah,
that's the only food source. Like,
something should have happened between then. Like that's like a 10-year gap at least, and something would have clicked in her mind, or she would have joined a gang, or there should be a whole backstory of how she got from there. So we can't just say, oh yeah, she was just abandoned and boom. She fended for herself by what? A 4-year-old collecting scrap from a Star Destroyer for 10 years? No.
Yeah, supposedly she's 19 or 20
really?
at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, okay, so she managed to live in a desert planet all by herself.
Something is missing, exactly. So we don't know what's going on. That's why she's even more of a Mary Sue, because it doesn't make any sense that she survived and she is the way she is.
Because there's no way that Unkar plot had a change of heart and was like, oh, I'm gonna do my best for this orphan.
Yeah, the logical thing was he would have kept her and used her as slave labor and kept a leash around her. And yeah, you're my property and we're gonna work together. As opposed to, okay, bye. You do what you want, but I'm the one providing food in this area, so you're gonna come back to me anyway. It's like, no, you just control her. But okay, whatever. Yeah, she lived on the streets of the dunes and somehow managed to survive. We don't know how. Okay, fine.
Or whatever, you know what I mean? And so yeah, by their logic, if any of this was applied consistently, then Luke would be a Mary. I think they call it a Gary stew.
Why?
Yeah, it's Gary Sue for a male, but yeah, same thing.
But I mean, I don't call Luke that because I don't think it's valid. I think that it's a story, and that
Yes, it's not valid because he's not married.
So just because Luke is not a Mary Sue does not mean Rey is not a Mary Sue. That doesn't coincide. You can't say in a completely unrelated character. It has nothing. Like, there's no connection between the two. What are you talking about? I don't know. I don't understand this logic. Like, he has to explain his logic. He says, "What is the logic?" I was like, "Well, tell me. What's the connection?" Saying there's logic without explaining it is not logic. That's just saying there is a bear behind the tree. It's like, I don't. Where? Which tree? Which bear? What does the bear look like? Can you describe it to me? It's like, no. Well, how do I believe you? Logic should be very clearly explained, because that's what logic is. Logic connects A to B to C in a very clear way. There's no like if or then or maybe or not sure. It's logic. It has to connect. That's why we have it. So no, sir, you can't just say it's logical. Just make the connection, prove it, and then show the connection between the two or the similarity between the two. It should be that simple. So you replace A with Luke or A with Rey, and it should come out the same way. That's all you got to
do. To apply this kind of standard is absurd. They did it with Hawkeye, where
that was weird.
Kate Bishop was like, and I talked about Nerdrodic's dumb take on that.
Whataboutism
they
too?
were all like, she immediately.
Yeah, well,
she's
who's
great
the
at
one that
fighting.
that
She's
beat the
great at,
Kingpin?
shooting a bow or whatever, and it's like,
well, I mean, they did a great job establishing how Clint Barton trained and all that stuff, right?
Nope, not at all.
Wait,
not even once. It's just, he came up in S.H.I.E.L.D. That's basically all you need to be told, apparently. But with her, they show that she's got all these trophies for martial arts and for archery and stuff like that, and that's not good enough. And it's just such clear fucking sexism, man, that I don't know.
Sexism.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I've often made like the argument of like comparing Rey to like Luke and Anakin, right? And saying that and I often get the response that they're, oh, are you calling Luke a Gary Stew? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just saying that if you claim that Rey is a Mary Sue, right, then you need to have the same the same consistency for a character like Luke, right?
Why?
It's a false equivalence.
What do you mean with same? What? Does it? Is he trying to? I don't understand what he's trying to say.
He's trying to say
if Rey's a Mary Sue, that doesn't mean Luke has to be a Mary Sue.
Yeah, he's trying to say if you have a criteria, you have to apply it to the same standards. Like we have a criteria, we do apply it the same way, and you're not defining your
Luke
own.
Doesn't fulfill him.
There's a video. There's actually a series of videos I've talked about this over the years from IDR Labs, and it says, "Is Luke a Mary Sue? Is Rey a Mary Sue? Is Sand a Mary Sue?" It just says all these things, and it has the criteria. He has 7 points. That's not the best criteria, but it's fine. You could use whatever criteria you like. And it goes through, Anakin and Luke and Rey, and it compares the 3. And it shows on every metric, Rey checks the box. Not the same for Anakin and not the same for Luke. So
And probably not for Ahsoka either.
I was going to say one of these things is not like the other.
yeah, it's like, great, dude. You can make this argument. Show us the criteria these people are using, why you think they're wrong. It's very simple. Go to IDR Labs. Go to TV Tropes. Go to Wikipedia. Pick a criteria and use it. That's all you have to do.
We're never gonna see that criteria from them.
This is so Mickey Mouse. This is so grade school, like basic shit. Like, do all of these properties exist within this factor? Like, I don't know. Does a car have wheels? Yes. Does it have a steering wheel? Yes. Does it have doors? Yes. Does it have a jacuzzi? No. Okay. I guess it's not a car. You're right. Well, some cars can have jacuzzis. You're right. Limos do. So you have to make different categories, and you have to keep going and make your criteria bigger and da-da-da-da. It's not hard. It's basic categorization. But, okay, these guys don't want to do it. Anyway.
It makes no fucking sense.
You have to, and it's really weird that they. I don't know. It's hard to tell if they really believe this stuff or if they're doing it on purpose, because it just seems pretty obvious to me. Like, just watch the movie and then apply the standards. Like, if you think that
Which?
that a character needs to have all this stuff built up and explained clearly. That's fine. That's your preference, but just you need to apply it.
No. It's not a preference. That's a criteria for one of the dozens of factors that make a Mary Sue. This is why when I do make these videos, I feel like I have to, because these people are ridiculous. You pick the longest, most strict criteria you can think of and go with that. So that way, if you just think it's someone who's overpowered or it's someone who doesn't have explained powers or whatever, don't worry, that's part of the criteria. And then you'll have this percentage up the top. That's why I said Rey is like 80%, if not 90% a Mary Sue, because there's some factors in that list I put in the description where it's like she has a natural, or the Mary Sue will have a natural talent for music. And we have nothing like that in Star Wars. So that is a consideration. But that's fine. You don't have to have every single criteria, and that's why it's on a scale. It doesn't have to. There's so many factors involved. And because it's from fan fiction, you can't apply all of fan fiction or every genre from fan fiction to Star Wars. It's not gonna mesh up very well. But you can certainly list them all and see how close it comes. And I did this is years ago with Southpaw, actually. He went through the entire list. I gave him 40 minutes to do it, and he listed them all. And I swear there's maybe 2 or 3 that did not have, and one of them was music, because I remember that, but did not have that Rey as a quality. So yeah, no, it's pretty obvious, dude. You just go through the steps. You take the effort, 20 minutes, list them all, find a scene, see if it compares. Some of them aren't 1-to-1. Some of them are like 1 to 1.5 or 1 to 0.5. But nothing's perfect. We don't have to be perfect. The end result is more than 80%, I would say, true. So that's all. It's not some guy whose powers are unexplained. That's like one of multiple factors.
Evenly.
The most obvious example is obviously from The Last Jedi, where she is convinced that she can bring Kylo Ren to the light side. She's absolutely convinced she can do this.
And fails.
I just need to go talk to him. I can bring him to the light. And what does she do? She pushes him towards the darkness. I mean, it's complete failure. I mean, that's not a Mary Sue thing.
So failure is, again, not... She doesn't have to win at everything. That's not a trait of the Mary Sue.
I didn't exactly get what he was saying. The fact that she was curious and went to that dark cave was the fact that she failed, or the fact that she went to Kylo Ren to fight. Yeah,
well, the idea is that because she's perfect, she never screws up. She screws up a lot.
She never screws up. Even when she was in the shares, the whatever ship was crashing because it was about to explode. She manages to sneak off from the ship. Yeah. It's just every situation she turns out to be a winner.
Yeah, the first time she tries something, she either gets it the first time or she doesn't know what she's doing, and then the second time she always gets it. She always gets it. So failure is not some inherent if you're a Mary Sue, you can never fail. It's no, you will, but you'll win out in the end. So there'll be a fight, in the fight with Kylo Ren, she's losing. He's pushing her back. She's obviously overpowered, and then, as we said, she cranks up her stat points because she passed 19 levels, so she's level 20 now. She put all her stats into, I don't know, agility or whatever. She's just destroying him. You're like, what? How did this happen? So yeah, it's kind of obvious something's happening in the narrative, that the story wants us to go a certain direction. All right, Vladimir Dragunov. Didn't take them very long to play the Segism card. Well, because they went with Luke, therefore sexism. So I don't know why they went with that aboutism. There's no reason to do that.
Because we like Luke and not Rey.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
Well, I'm sorry, because Luke is a much more interesting character than Rey can ever wish for.
No, more like I'm sorry that Luke is a character.
Yeah.
It has a personality. Yeah, it's amazing. I know.
Yeah. I'm sorry that Luke exists.
Yeah, see, all it takes is 2 minutes of Google searching to find out the definition, and it doesn't matter if it's a Wikipedia, it doesn't matter if it's on fanfic.net, it doesn't matter where the definition comes from. Use it and then apply it. Just use it. That's all you got to do. This is my standard, and I'll say, well, this is my standard. I'm using the same standard as you, but I have more to it, and I'm going to keep going. So, arguably, the more standards you have, the bigger the standard is, the more accurate your definition of a factor is. So that's why I'm using TV tropes. I can use another one. Doesn't make a difference. That's why IDR Labs has 7. He has 7. I think it's 6 or 7. And he does a very good argument. It's very clear. He shows clips exactly from the video of the movies. So, but these guys didn't watch that because they think they're right.
And
I guess what happens in Rise of Skywalker? Who does she lose a lightsaber fight to before Leia, of course, steps in? Right, Kylo Ren. You know, she loses a fight there when they're.
Well, she also gets captured by Kylo Ren in their first meeting instantly. So I wouldn't say it's a fight, but she's not not going to get captured, but she escapes perfectly with all these powers that came out of nowhere. She can force persuade. She can just climb through a gigantic spaceship or planet and magically find her friends on a planet who just happen to be in the right place at the right time.
And then there's
like the entire thing that like they can just sneak on a Star Destroyer to save Chewie.
And then there's the dagger.
Yeah, oh god, the dagger.
Jeez. All right, here's Neil. Thank you, Neil. These clowns wouldn't know Mary Sue if it bit them in the rear, and they want us to take them seriously with media criticism. How sad.
They wish one would bite them in the rear.
All they had to do was give us a definition outside. Their abilities aren't explained. That's not what a Mary Sue is. That's part, but it's not all. So they have to explain what it is. They have to talk about the history, the nature, what it has become, and then look at it properly. And you can look at Luke later on if you want, but that's just beside the point. So it's not hard to do. We do it with Anakin. We could do it with sand. We could do it with anything. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's IDR Labs because people were so dumb. He's like, you know what? Let's just do sand because that's part of Star Wars.
Sand is more remembered in this damn franchise than any of these new characters.
Yeah, go search "Is Sand a Mary Sue" on YouTube, and you'll get a video. So
sand is at least well remembered.
It's everywhere.
Because Course of Rough, it gets everywhere. I was gonna say, yeah, that one fucking line.
All right.
Both pretty much like where none of them is weakened, you know, like Rey's like exhausted and shit, right? But but like she loses. This whole claim that like
she doesn't lose.
Perfect, she never fails.
She stabbed Kylo to the point that like she needs to use her bullshit force heal ability that gets people back to life.
Her magical force healing that no one has ever had.
No one has ever had. Nobody ever figured out.
No one's ever trained her how to do it. She never knew she had it. She could heal snakes.
It was all in a book.
Somewhere. I don't know. Somehow.
What was like actually the purpose of that book other than the force healing? Like, why else did she learn in that book?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Was it Leia's memoirs? Or was what was it? Luke's. I don't know.
The sacred Jedi text.
The sacred Jedi text.
The very thing that Yoda was supposed to burn down.
Which Yoda said was not that important.
Not that important. No, not at all. You're just gonna save your life. Shit like that.
And then Yoda covered for her to get the books out of there. Yeah, not important at all.
That's like another thing. Like, why did the Force Ghost lie to Luke? Of all people. Every single time I think about the sequel trilogy, it just infuriates me.
Yeah, the issue with the flaws that Mary Sue's have, and there's a whole section on that in the link I provided, is that they are flaws, but they're not flaws that are central to the story. So let's say that if the story was like a cooking show, she wouldn't have she wouldn't be bad at cooking. She'd be bad at like talking to people or something outside. of the main plot. It would be like, oh, she's clumsy, and there is a clumsy Sue, believe it or not. So there's all kinds of Sues out there, and these guys just aren't aware of the various flavors of the Mary Sue, which is again asking people who aren't good at a thing to talk about the thing and tell everyone else that they're wrong. When all it takes is a good 5 to 5 minutes just to read up on this, and you go, oh wow, there's all kinds of versions of it. I didn't know that. Fantastic. Vladimir Dragunov, these guys need to go touch sand.
Not the sand.
I see what you did there.
I would prefer just go to TV Tropes and read for a good hour, but or just go to IDR Labs. People like YouTube. Go to YouTube, look at IDR Labs, watch his videos. Easy enough. Okay.
It
None
falls apart
whatsoever.
under any scrutiny. And I
But
swear
this
the
guy-
people who make claim haven't examined it. And
Yeah, the more I looked at this guy's Twitter feed, by the way, like it became clear he was doing it on purpose. Like he even tweeted like, the amount of replies I've gotten to that is amazing and whatever. It's like, all right, so you're clearly, and that's what we mean by grifter. Because another thing,
What?
just want to,
How do you grift on Twitter, buddy? What are you talking about? He made a post. People are replying to it, and he's impressed by how many replies he got. That's not grifting. That's Twitter. That's fans
Yes.
on Twitter of any fandom.
That's just Twitter. That's all you got to say.
Yeah, what money is he making, dude, on Twitter? Give me an example of how he made money with that tweet. Did he post a video he made? That could technically make him some money. I don't know, but what is he?
No.
They use these terms like it's like universal. It's he's just trying to make money. That's all he's doing. It's like how? Is there an affiliate link somewhere? Is he selling shoes? Like what are you talking about? Weird.
my personal thing, but I'm gonna mention it real quick. Somebody called me a grifter yesterday, and I've gotten this a bunch where they're just like, by you people standards, actual Phantom is a grifter. So because it's you all just have an agenda. Stop pretending to be the morally correct people. And I was like, do you think a grifter is just someone with an agenda? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it.
What's a grifter, buddy?
They throw that word around without any understanding. So grifter
He's gonna give it. Here we go.
is essentially a person who lies for money.
Okay. So how is that fellow on Twitter lying for money? Where's the money? Let's say he lied about, this is retarded because you could have an opinion that Ray is or isn't a Mary Sue. That's not a lie. You actually believe that. That's fine. We think you're wrong if you think she isn't, but that's fine. You could say that. It's not a lie. So where's the money? Where's the lie? Where's the money? Like I don't get it.
Search for more money.
Yeah, how is he making money? Does he have like a link in his bio where it goes to his online store? Like, what are you talking about? Is he getting hired by someone because he has an opinion on Ray? I don't think so. This is getting a little strange. They keep using that term. So do you. Anyway, we got a donation from Mr. Bewitz, 1900. When I heard the guy on the left's voice, I thought I was Mr. Necker. Oh, God. But the retardation made me think otherwise. And does this guy think that people don't think Ray is a Mary Sue? Because that's what a grifter would imply. See, this is what I was trying to get at, because he's making a video on this topic, which obviously 1,000 views is not much money, but you're on YouTube, so you can technically make money through AdSense. So the people use these terms like Nazi and grifter and all. It's like what does that mean? I get grifter. You're doing this for the money, but how is he making money on Twitter? What is he doing outside of tweeting?
I really want to know.
Yeah,
this is just like going nowhere. They're just name calling.
They're calling them names that have no meaning, and they have no strong definition of what. Again, I could water down the term trans man, trans woman to the most basic thing. I'd still be wrong because I've removed all the meaning of the word. And that's what some people do. Oh, it's just whatever you think it is. It's like, well, no, there's a lot more to it. So we would never do that. And someone arguing that is silly. There's a few more steps for a term, for a word that we've established, especially in literacy or in literary terms. There's all kinds of definitions. And to reduce it to one meaning the powers that be are unexplained, that's not enough. That's not what a Mary Sue is. So their definition, or their criteria is poor unless nothing fits the criteria. So that's not what we do with these terms.
Man. Like they were, I think they were calling me a grifter because like, well, this video is monetized, so doesn't that make you a grifter? It's like, it's not just doing something for money. Otherwise, just working a 9-to-5 job makes you a grifter. What?
No, it's like, and yeah, I tell people, I try to make it clear what my agenda is, because look, everybody that's making content has an agenda, whether it's to just talk about the movies they like, which a lot of people do, and that's fine, or just to talk about the movies they hate. But if you're talking about the movies you hate nonstop, and then you're also calling things woke and bad as soon as a trailer drops or whatever, and then you don't even give it a chance, you're talking shit on it before it comes out. You're saying that the industry is failing because of this stuff.
It is failing. It is woke and shit.
And above all else, it's obvious as hell.
Yeah, I could
just look at like the Star Wars. Like Andor is supposedly like finally a good show, and they barely got any viewers. Like it didn't get the numbers.
I don't
It's
even.
like
Yeah, my dad likes it, but it's like very few people, and it's only the last bit, not the first half. So you're gonna scare away people. But even for me, like I don't even watch Marvel films, and I could just glance at trailers and go, "Yeah, that's not gonna work."
And even if Andor is good, like the damage has already been done.
yeah.
This is okay. You could argue that people aren't giving the show a fair shake because they haven't watched it, but a trailer pretty much tells you what's going to be happening. And unless they're pulling some wool over your eyes, like that, they show fake clips, which did happen with Rogue One. Funnily enough, the reason why I wanted to watch Rogue One was the clip that wasn't in the movie, where
Which one was it?
the TIE fighter comes right close to her on that platform.
Yeah, that never happened.
I was like, oh my god, that looks awesome. What's going to happen? And I asked my dad, because I didn't watch all the films. I got bored. It's like, is there a scene near the end where she gets attacked by a TIE fighter? I was like, what? What are you talking about? Oh, really? Didn't happen? Shit. So, yeah, marketing lies to you. And we do know from comic books and Disney films and Disney shows that there's a lot of bad writing going on. And we know it's endemic to the political climate of today's, or the last 10 years, 12 years. It's not accurate to say that, but you're not missing the mark. You're speaking from experience. So yeah, it is not fair to give every film out there that label, but it ends up being true. And we sort of saw that with, what is the Eternals. Actually, after the Eternals, everything just sort of went downhill for Marvel.
It was a really underwhelming movie.
Yeah,
And it's at least so far, it's the tease for it has gone literally nowhere.
Are they making a second one? I don't know if they're continuing it on with the phase.
Supposedly they are.
With the flop that it is, I doubt it.
Yeah.
I heard rumors that they are working on a sequel, like at least they're writing it. I'm like, why? It barely made money. Why would you invest in something like that?
Yeah, we have
Unless you just want to like go bankrupt.
we have actors. What was that chick from, or the little
Going
girl?
bankrupt, you're right.
The girl from Game of Thrones, who was the young Stark leader. She was like really, really angry, and she was like 7 or 8, but she was screaming all the time. Everyone was like, oh my god, she's crazy. She identified as non-binary or something. It was like, okay, so not only are actors getting weird, but the films themselves are not appealing to many people, or at least people want to watch these shows. People can hate these things for good reason. They can hate the aspects, and they can make a career. They can make a YouTube career or whatever, talking about how bad things are. It's called criticism. There's nothing wrong with critiquing things. It's how you do it. It's your arguments. It's your evidence. And I got tired of it. I really did, of talking about these. I used to go to Bounding Into Comics all the time, read articles. It's like, this is crazy, this is stupid. And it just kept happening. It just years and years went by, it just kept happening. And I'm like, I'm not having fun. I'd rather work and read and enjoy my life in other ways because this is too sad.
Same. It's just like it's all the same news like, every single week. Like we get a news that like, hey, well, this and that is going to do something problematic, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't care.
And then there's movies that you love from your childhood, like Indiana Jones, and they're doing
And it gets raped.
whatever, and you're like, that's not Indiana. That's not what I want. Does anyone want that? Maybe, but I don't think it's me. I was around in the 80s. I don't think people from the 80s want this. Same with James Bond. Same with all these big names. You're like, okay, we're done. So, yeah, dude, I don't know. People have a right to criticize things, and even if they label them as woke, there's past experience to back that up, especially from the same producer, director, studio, etc.
Stuff or whatever, and film where there's like shifts in how the industry operates, but generally it's not failing. You know, I mean, yeah, like the theater aspect of things is it's not in good shape, but that's because of a lot of it was due to COVID.
Wait. You're saying the theater industry is dead or dying because of COVID? Have you heard of this thing called streaming, sir? It's been around for, I don't know, 10 years or so. A lot of people aren't going to movie theaters as much. They have subscription services, and they watch that is on their TV from their computer or internet connection.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But like, there's like points that like is gonna go entirely against this. And I don't even like that movie. But like, No Way Home, Spider-Man: No Way Home. Like, how much money did it make? And you tell me that it's COVID that's the problem.
Yeah.
No.
I don't get it, because we're talking about films based on comic books, and we're talking about the comic book industry and how bad that's been the past 15 years at least. It's been on a huge decline. And you could argue the influence and competition from Eastern content and how much it's influenced the West. So it's kind of like, yes, there is the East and there's competition, but it's like, are people buying that more? And they are. They're buying more manga. They're buying more anime. They have more anime subscriptions. They like it more. Why? I don't know. There's so many reasons to like it. We all liked anime as kids. Cartoons in general, animations. So if these guys can't see that, I don't know what they're arguing. And they're not paying attention to why people aren't buying things anymore. The same with all the dolls from Star Wars that aren't being sold.
Yes, like those action figures, they are gonna stay there forever.
Yeah, no one's buying them.
Dust.
You could argue COVID for, the past 2 years. You could talk about how Disney's stock dropped and they had to close a lot of theme parks. But they brought some back open. So it's like, yeah, COVID had an impact, but it's not the only thing. And that's well done with now. So anyway, Terran Art. How's it going, Terran Art? Thank you for the 2 CHFs. I don't know what those are, but thank you. Where is the money, Smudchat? The money is all from you guys, and I could give you the sum total. It's $28.34 Canadian, all in super chats, all from you guys. So that is what we got. I think I have $2 in donations from our very affluently named people who always like Schick Hydro Illinois and Mr. Bewitz 1900. So there's the money. That's all I got. All from you. You can call that a grift, but again, we're just having fun, and I like reading your guys' super chats and donations. So, I mean, I have a job. I do this for fun with my friends. That's all we do. So, anyway, well, let's continue.
But it's also due to streaming.
Thank you. You're right.
So, like, yeah, the models are shifting, and to ignore those factors and just to go, it's woke, and that's why it's bad, and that's why it's failing.
Yeah, but even streaming is failing with the woke shit. So what's your point? It's content. It doesn't matter if it's coming at you more conveniently in streaming. If you're not going to watch it, like I'm not going to watch Star Wars or Star Trek Discovery, or I'll probably watch Star Trek Picard just to see what the hell they do because it's so stupid. It's so crazy.
You're gonna watch the third season?
I have to. It's the only thing I have to look forward to this year. There's nothing else outside of.
I mean, you've also been saying that Strange New Worlds is good, and I still don't believe you on that.
It actually, well, okay, that's fair. It is actually entertaining. I'll probably watch that. You're right. But I'm not excited for it. Like I'm not like, ooh, I can't wait. It's just sort of there, right? Would be nice to watch if I'm not busy. But that, yeah, it's only that and the video game Nightingale, and maybe Starfield. Is that what it was called from? Yeah, it's called Starfield.
Starfield, yeah, from Bethesda.
Yeah, that's about the only thing I'm looking forward to this year, and everything else is just a void.
The void.
The void. Yeah, well, there's books, of course, but I'm always reading, so there's no
void.
Yeah, there's no like, I gotta read a novel. It's like no, I have books I've got going, so it's not like I have to hit a deadline or so. But with games, it's like I have to play New Vegas. I still haven't played my last year playthrough. I stopped and started 3 times. It's kind of sad. So anyway,
whatever. It's grift. They're selling you bullshit
Who?
and a dishonest narrative.
Who?
For ad revenue, and in some cases, I imagine Patreon or whatever
How?
they might use in Comicsgate and Ripper.
Comicsgate. Is that guy part of Comicsgate? And if so, how is he making money on Twitter? This is like,
another case of whataboutism. It's just
I don't get it. Like you could call like Jordan Peterson a grift because he's on Twitter, but how is he selling tickets? How is he selling books? What does that translate to? He's just on Twitter, saying his piece like everyone else. I've never seen him link to a book. I've never seen him say, "Hey, read my book." No. I've seen Gad Sad do that because his book is specific to certain arguments. He's like, "Listen, I don't believe you're correct. I wrote a book on that. Check it out." But he's also there just to laugh at people. If you guys don't know Gad Sad, he's I think he's a biology professor at Montreal, one of the universities of Montreal. I can't remember his exact name. Is it genetic biology professor? And
something like that.
Yeah. He covers the parasitic mind, and he always deals with Canadian issues, mostly Justin Trudeau. But yeah. So anyway, we have 3 minutes left.
Versus case to tell people that the comics industry is failing and has been failing for so many years now, and it's because it's woke or SJW, whatever. And
yes.
You look at the sales, and the comics industry is doing great.
This is the guy. This is the guy that's trying to defend the comic industry and the sales numbers. The sales numbers that include the manga sales and all those other things as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say American comic books doing so great that a single manga outsold the whole damn industry.
Yes.
What was it?
Wasn't that Demon Slayer?
Yeah, Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
I was just about.
That's like saying
Demon Slayer alone outsold the entire American comic books industry, and that's saying something.
Yeah, shonen manga.
And that's not even saying, and that's not even considering the juggernaut that is Dragon Ball. But that's a whole other argument.
Yeah, so obviously woke is part of that, but the Eastern influence is huge. There's lots of issues that are causing the comics book industry, the Marvel Disney franchise to crash. So, yeah, dude.
Like just like a week ago, was it? Like DC had like a comic book with a pregnant Joker. It's just like, how can you possibly market that shit? Yeah.
No, I'm just like me to DC. No, stop. Do you even know what you're doing at this point?
And according to EVS, even Marvel jumped on the bandwagon to have like another pregnant man as in a comic book. What the fuck is going on with them?
Who though? That's my question. Who are they going to do it with?
All right. Well, again, it's part of the puzzle, and I think he's correct in saying that. Yeah, it's not just about being woke, but that's a big part of it. The stories suck. So
it's a big driving force behind it. It's just like you can break it down. just see for it what it is. You don't have to be like a really expert at this.
Yeah,
like
the same.
I'm really casual at like the whole like Comicsgate and comics book things, but like it doesn't take a genius to see these patterns that they have.
And we see
Yeah, I'm
that,
just like, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
we see that with the was it D&D? Was it this week or last week?
Yes, they changed their license, I believe. And now, if you if you give them like artwork and they get in legal trouble after that, then you have to pay for all of that shit. It's just like, who the fuck wants to work for them after this?
Wow. Okay, fair enough. 3 minutes. These guys defending the comic book industry because it's woke is good or something. I don't know.
That's another thing. It's growing more welcoming to people who aren't just hardcore comics fans, which is why like graphic novel and trade paperback sales.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's also like Neil Gaiman and what is this famous one? The recent one that got adapted on Netflix.
George R. R. Martin?
No. Neil Gaiman's book. Sandman. Sandman was like one of those comic books that like drawn in like women, casual women, to read comic books.
Right.
And that happened in the 90s or even the 80s, I believe.
Yeah, and unfortunately the show, as much as I love the book, because the book is pretty close to the show, but they changed a lot of characters around and scenes because Gaiman wanted to even be more progressive that it didn't need to. It was perfectly fine. Some of the changes were clever. I saw them because I know the narrative, and it's like, oh, that's from that part, and they just pasted it in there. It's like, that works. It's like some of the ideas from Genius work in other parts because it's Genius. It just happens to be in a different scene. It's like, great. So, but other things where they change sexes around and genders around and skin tones around, it's like, why is this happening? Like, if the characters,
why is this happening at all? Yeah,
there's no reason to do these changes when we have these beloved characters that have a purpose, and now they're just, oh, it's all magic, it's all in the dreaming. It's like, that's not the point. It's not why we're watching the Sandman. We're not watching the Sandman so Neil Gaiman could have a second shot at it. We're watching the Sandman because it's the Sandman. We want to see the comic come to life, not through another filter, which is Neil Gaiman's desire to have a black death or a black Lucian or a female Constantine, to use the same actress in two different time frames. It's like, why is this happening? There's no reason.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman's weirdness is a bad enough filter on its own. Imagine the wokeness on top of that.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, but then he was defending so hard before the Sandman was released. He had all these interviews and he was defending all the scenes, and I'm like, okay, you are pushing this way too hard, buddy.
Yeah, but like the point is that like comic books are not only for the hardcore fans. It has never been like that for all of them. It's just like there was always room for casual fans.
Okay, Wisp,
oh man,
Wisp is still
where is this going?
Wisp is still snoring away. I put him on mute, but it's just like, okay, let's leave it alone. Okay.
Are way up, and then they'll focus on manga versus comics to be like, whoa, but manga's doing better. It's like, that doesn't prove anything.
Yes,
it does.
The nature of
yes, it does.
Comics.
Yes, when I went to the comic book store when I was a kid, I was like, well, I could buy this or that. I can't buy it all, and I was interested in Oh My Goddess, which was a romance comic from Japan, of course. There was some Generation X, and then there was some Wolverine. And I was like, I'll buy some Wolverine this month, and next month I'll buy some Oh My Goddess. Competition, buddy.
And just look at comic book stores. Like, it's gonna be dominated by manga. And the fact is that, like, infuriating is that manga is outselling Western comic books that are made in the US. Domestic product gets outsold by a foreign product that specifically comes from Japan.
Yeah, you could.
How do you deal with something like that?
You could talk about any industry. You could talk about the food and drink industry. So imagine this was beer. So you have a domestic product which is really popular in, let's say Samuel Adams is a very popular beer in the States. Suddenly we got Hitachino Nest from Japan, which just blows it away. Like everyone loves Hitachino. And, 90% of the sales are from Hitachino. And 10% is like Sam Adams is like 2%. And there's like all the like Pabst Blue Ribbon and all these other cheap beers that are just bulk sales that no one drinks. So it's like, yeah, dude, the industry is getting crushed by a competitor. It's still beer, but it's not the product that everyone wants anymore. It's foreign. So, and this happens with beer a lot because what ends up happening is the big names like InBev will buy out like Sleeman or all these other big names, and they'll just keep making Sleeman, but they control it now. So they just bought them out. They're in control. It's a foreign company. And they'll just keep promoting their products because they can do whatever they want. So they're not stupid. They'll keep selling what you like, but they'll have like all these other better products that they're slowly introducing. And that's just the business of moving food and drink around. But comics are entertainment. If you like shitty Marvel stuff with bisexual people running around, fair enough. That's what you like. Good for you. The majority of people don't, unfortunately. So,
which is what my thing is. And I think you guys are basically the same. We're progressives. We we believe in inclusivity, and
sure you do.
We think that fandoms should be inclusive for everybody. You shouldn't.
Have you looked at Comicsgate itself? Because, like, okay, I don't have to mention like LiteratureDevil. He's a Hispanic dude, but like, there's all those other people in it that are not specifically white-bread Americans that are pushing this. It's just I have no words. Like every single time, like they have to make an argument that like why they don't like this movement. It's because like we are progressives, we are inclusive. Like why aren't Comicsgate inclusive? Give a legit argument.
Hey, don't you think the people who like comics?
I was gonna say. Meanwhile, the Rippaverse exists.
Yeah,
Rippaverse, like the most successful not even crowdfunded, because like he paid for all the stuff himself. It's pretty much like it was funded by people, quite literally.
By the pre-orders for the comic.
By the pre-orders by the comic, yeah. That thank you for the correction. It's just like over $3 million, and he delivered. He delivered. Yeah. He didn't take over a year. Like you can't even get the EVS argument with the Cyberfrog that like, oh well, it was like late by a year. No, it was like a month maybe at most. That is crazy. Yeah. Like he had it ready.
Yeah, he promised the comic to be like an actual legit comic again, to have a good comics again. The pre-orders funded the whole thing, and he delivered. And ISOM, from what I've heard, is actually really damn good.
Well, I like the argument that, we're progressive, we're inclusive. It's like you don't think people who love their thing aren't inclusive. They want everyone to read their stuff. They want everyone to see their love of whatever, whether they're creators or fans. And
it's probably going to go to the argument, sorry to interrupt, but like it's probably going to go for like, well, they are gatekeeping. But like, why are they gatekeeping in the first place? Like these Comicsgate people and the other indie comic books creators, because they have seen like what happens if you have like an industry like DC or Marvel, and you layer in like the malicious people who gonna like ruin your careers.
Right. This
like,
is
Gail Simone, for example.
Well, this is why
and like what she has done.
Gail Simone single-handedly, among other things, single-handedly ruined back Barbara Gordon.
Oh.
And we thought Barbara getting paralyzed was the first thing that happened.
Well, this is one of the concepts of, believe it or not, religion, where you have the orthodoxy, which has all the rules and all the standards and all this the hard line of what it means to be a Jew or a Christian or whatever. And then you have the conservatives, who are just not as hardcore, but they still believe in all the standards. Then you have the liberal.
We've said it for years. The woke bullshit is a straight up cult, a straight up evil cult.
Oh well, that's a whole other that is technically a religion in its own regard. Same with climate change and all these other people who think the world's going to come to an end or what have you. There's all kinds of these groups. The thing I was trying to say is that the orthodoxy exists for those standards. And you can call that whatever gate you want to call gatekeeping. But if you don't have that, then you have no standards. You just have these wishy-washy sort of ideals that, oh yeah, comic books should be like this. Superman could be gay. He could have a gay son. He could, like, all these other weird things. It's like, okay, that's not what Superman is. He's not about having children. Like, he could be. There are stories with that.
Yeah, he's had children before. Well, the thing with a lot of these ideas is, like, even what they're actually doing, it could work. The problem is that it's used to push an agenda instead of actually, like, hey, what if it was this way? Maybe it can be good. It could be good.
Right.
They just use it to push their bullshit.
Right. So it's the issue of having an alternative purpose outside of telling good stories. To just, oh, we want to insert this bisexual Eskimo from space who whatever. And you're like, that's, I mean, okay, have a weird character, but why?
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah, it's like have this bizarre minority that, for the sake of having minority. It's like, oh, look what I'm doing. I'm talking about Eskimos. You're like, okay, sure. Is that part of a plot? Like, what are you doing? So anyway, here is
before you read that super chat. Sorry, it's like, or donation or whatever. It's like that's exactly why I'm so grateful that something like Metroid was spared from all this bullshit.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's niche enough where these morons that haven't gotten a lock on it. Maybe now after Dread's success, maybe it'll happen at some point. But at least for now, I can savor it.
I'm so happy Dread exists, even though I haven't touched it yet. I just saw gameplay design. It's like this looks awesome. What a great.
A lot of people are happy Dread exists,
Yeah.
and especially the way it is now, because it even as recently as Dread, Metroid is giving the fuck you to the woke bullshit.
Yeah.
Because
I love that the God of War creator was like infuriated that he couldn't figure out how to progress in the game.
David Jaffe, yeah. And coming from the same guy that made the completely bullshit Hades section and didn't bother testing it because there wasn't time left. The same guy that made the balls hard spike wall climb at the end of God of War 1 is the same guy that can't progress in Metroid. Oh, that will never get old.
All right. Here's Batman the Killing Toke. Thank you, sir. I'd also like to point out that French comics are selling better than both manga and American comics. The only Marvel book I bought lately was the one where Garth Ennis returned for Punisher. Ooh. Hope the ESG score was worth it for DC and Marvel. I had no idea French comics were that popular.
Yeah, they somehow they are, but like we just don't have the numbers as far as I know. But I would be happy to see like some of those numbers.
When even the French can do something like that better than America, you know something's wrong.
That is interesting.
Oh, they have an entire genre for that. Yeah.
I gotta read more.
Making the joke.
Yeah, I gotta read more. I know they have awesome science fiction stories. I just don't have them translated, so I don't know where they are. Oh, there's so many books I want to read. I just don't have time. 2 more minutes with these gentlemen. Here we go.
Make content, things are woke, therefore bad because there's a black character in it or a woman or whatever, because that excludes people from feeling like they can be part of a fandom.
No, dude, it's because it's forced. It doesn't matter if it's white, black, brown, or purple. Any part of a story which feels forced is bad. When you are forcing your audience to listen to your soapbox speech, it's not good. It wasn't good when Ayn Rand did it in her Atlas Shrugged. It's not good when, what is it, those cartoons do it about lesbianism or whatever. It doesn't matter what the theme is. It doesn't matter what the ideas are. We don't really care that much. It's when it's obviously forced that you know the story is suffering as a result. No, I don't think anyone would care about the sexuality of Samus Aran, but it doesn't matter. And to bring that up detracts from the experience of being Samus Aran and exploring this crazy, cool world of aliens. So
Metroid, even as recent as Dread, is the definitive counter argument for why the woke shit doesn't work.
Yeah, we don't need it.
Strong female character stupidity that they're trying to push. No, Metroid has done it right since the beginning, having her actions speak louder than anything else.
Yeah, and
which is how it should be.
And if we had not necessarily another character in a Variah suit, but just another character, could be a female, could be a male, it could be an alien, we don't care, playing a Metroid game, we'd be like, hey, cool, what's that? That's new. What are they doing? Oh, the same thing you would in normal Metroid, only maybe you have a wall climb because the character's an alien, he's got like claws or something. Hey, that might be cool.
Well, they did make a different kind of Metroid game. It's called Federation Force, and it was a major disappointment. Why do you think? Which is why AM2R is such a big deal, because that is the fully bona fide Metroid game that celebrates the history of the franchise, and it landed on the 30th anniversary, the 6th of August of 2016. What a year! Between that and Doom 2016, that was my year.
Cool. The point I'm making is that you could change things up in the formula that is Metroid, provided you focus on the things that people play, why people play Metroid. So it's like exploration, Metroidvania style exploration, power-ups.
Well, that's why Other M fell flat on its face.
Well, they went too far in one direction, which is like cinematic cutscenes and voice acting and bad stories.
Yeah, they had like too much inspiration from Kojima.
Which just like Half-Life, Metroid did naturally with minimal effort. Just again, like I mentioned on that another Smudcast where I mentioned Metroid, it just gives you everything, and it's up to you what to think of it. It's that simple, as opposed to the woke shit nowadays, where they have to tell you everything.
Yeah, I always give the analogy of going to a burger joint and then changing the burger by 10%, like maybe adding some pork to your mixture of beef. You know, mix things up, add a new flavor, start a new chicken burger or whatever, introduce new elements. They do that every month at every fast food joint you ever go to now. They'll have a version of a thing, like now it's the Impossible Burger or the Veggie Burger or whatever. They're introducing new products. It's still a burger, but it's different. And you might not like it, and that's fine, but you still have the option to buy a normal Whopper or a Big Mac or whatever. So don't break what doesn't need to be broken, which is already fine. So, but give people more options is what I'm trying to say. Change things up, make things new. That's how you do new cool stuff in your stories, in your products, in your services, and you give more quality to your clients. So not that I'm trying to teach you guys to be better workers. I'm just saying that's how the world works. So if these guys think it's all no people like black people, it's like no, we don't care. We really don't care if we have a new Samus Aran hero, provided we get to play the same.
It's all in the context.
It's all just does it work within the gameplay? Does it work within the story? If it does, great, no problem.
It's just like the attempts that I've seen from modern DC and Marvel is that like they have a character who used to be white or some other race, and then they just do a sex change or like a race change, and then the character isn't really reflecting what the original character was standing for. Because I'm kind of like allowing that, like, okay, if they want to like have an adaptation of like they want a live action in the US of something that used to be like some Asian setting, then they have to like have like some different races in there, because like sure, like they don't have the opportunity to use all Asian actors for this American adaptation of something. But when you have like a perfectly reasonable way of adapting something, then you just gotta be honest with it. You gotta get the same character wise. The actor can be different looking or something, but like they gotta do like what the plot is demanding them. If they have to be good looking, then you gotta have a good looking actor. If you gotta have like someone who's gotta do something that the plot demands, then they gotta do that.
Yeah, I was just thinking of, since I was talking about Metroid, there's all these examples of different iterations of Castlevania, like Circle of the Moon.
Oh yeah,
which has like there's different card systems and the equipment systems. I remember, was it Juiced Belmont? He looked like a combination of Sypha and Alucard, but he had a whip and a red.
Well,
yeah, that's them.
Yeah.
Juiced was Harmony of Dissonance.
Yeah, like there's so many, like maybe we'll try that. Maybe we'll try, like that's great. Go for it. And it doesn't always hit, but the gameplay is still the same. You're still side scrolling. You're still uncovering hidden stuff in walls. You're equipping stuff. You're powering stuff up. You're getting levels.
From my recollection, Circle of the Moon is one of the least liked games in the series, apparently.
Really? Oh, I kind of like that one.
Or at least, if not by fans, then at least by Igarashi himself. Although it was eventually added back into canon.
I thought
I feel like the PS2 and the N64 game is the least liked.
Well, I mean, in terms of the Igarashi era of the series.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember the.
It's because of the fact that it's like it was such low quality compared to the other games he had done. It was initially non-canon, but a lot of that stuff ended up getting added back.
Right, and I remember, was it the Sonia Belmont game that it was on Game Boy? I think that was decanonized. I think.
Game Boy, Game Boy Vanilla, yeah.
Yeah, because she was like the son or the daughter of.
No, they made her the wife of Alucard.
Yeah.
and conceived Trevor.
I was like, whoa, what happened there?
At least that's a more interesting idea than making Trevor Alucard like Lords of Shadow did.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
At least.
That was like a misstep. Like it had like some enjoyable moments, but
again, that's another example of an idea that could have worked if they worked on it a little more. But again, even that's better than the woke shit because at least that's an interesting angle to take things in. An interesting angle to consider things.
Sure.
I like what the mainstream is doing to like originally black characters. Like we have Static Shock, for example. Like it used to be like a really fun character for like there wasn't even originally DC. It only got included. And then now I think like the last time I saw it, it was like another like progressive critic, comic book critic on YouTube, and it was covering something that like the Static Shock is attempting BLM rally. I'm like, come on.
Yeah,
you can't be for fucking real.
Yeah, they just made Static Shock's backstory just BLM. That's it.
Yeah, or like the worst contender of all is Miles Morales. Like Miles Morales, and like every single time it's an insert into like another character. I know that's the entire thing, but it's just like fucking disgusting.
And that's even worse because he straight up came from another universe.
Yeah.
Every
time it's like forced onto like in the universe, it's all about like he's black and he's also a bit Hispanic. And it's like okay. What does this have to do with the story?
Except Spider-Verse, though. The Spider-Verse movie.
Into the Spider-Verse is the most tolerable version of the character. It's hilarious.
I hope the people making the Spider-Verse movies don't get their heads up their asses with the woke shit and just make a good movie.
I don't know. I heard that they have like included a non-binary character recently, so.
I'm not sure about that, but I can tell you for a fact that they did pregnant Jessica Drew again, and which is why that never worked. That's always been a dumb idea.
Well, I think like the fact that like the original people, like the Lord and was the other guy. I know that like the original directors of the first Spider-Verse is not gonna be there, so it's already a red flag for me. But I'm curious what they're gonna make from it. Yeah.
The first movie was good. They know the audience for the Spider-Verse, at least the movie version. So if the next one comes out and it ends up being awful, I'm just like, okay, that's it. But I'll wait at least.
All right, we got 2 more minutes. Let's finish this off. Hopefully, these guys won't have us forced to stop every 10 seconds, but. Yeah.
And then Wisp can go to sleep.
Wisp is very, very tired.
Like, just how boring these 3 guys are. Like, Wisp is sleeping.
Yeah, Wisp's brain's like, I don't need this in my life. I'm going to fall asleep.
Fuck this.
Yeah. All right.
It's pretty simple. Like, we're not being deceptive about what we're trying to do.
Wait, that's what you guys think?
Oh,
Shit.
Hold up! No, yeah, fully agree.
But yeah,
Is this the end of the? Oh, okay.
Having an agenda, is something everyone has. Everyone has.
Nope. I have the only agenda I have is to be happy, and that involves eating well and sleeping well and reading good books and
yeah, that's another thing that like if I have a polarizing opinion that like, hey, I don't like this change and I'm gonna explain why, then I'm gonna label the racist or some other kind of shit. It's like, no.
Yeah, the assumption
And-
that everyone has an agenda. Everyone's political. Everyone is political. It's like, no.
Everything is political, especially punk.
When I go down to Queens Park or City Hall, I just go there to see the food stands. I don't really want to talk to anyone. I just I just want to go and have a good time. A lot of people don't care about politics. I'm sorry to hear or say, but it's not part of my DNA. I just don't care half the time. Half the time I don't even vote because I don't think it matters half the times, but sometimes I do think it matters. That's it. That's as far as... I have a channel I barely touched in months where I just poke fun at all the stupid shit's been happening in Canada, and it's been happening so much, I'm just like, it's every day now. I just don't want to talk about it. So, yeah, I don't know, guys, what your agenda is, and I don't really care. It's not my business. So, enjoy your life. If you want to
wanting to watch, or if wanting to experience good shit is an agenda, then I will happily stand against you, Mr. Soy Boy.
Yeah, I don't like. It's not like if these guys like the Western comics with gay Superman, like good for you. Like no one cares. Like go for it. But
still garbage. But go ahead.
It's crap. It's crap stories, but it's your thing. Great. But to say that Ray is not a Mary Sue because the industry is going a certain way, it's like, well, that was the start, when not the start of the collapse, but that was like the biggest star in the sky. It's like, oh Jesus, they're really pushing this female thing going, and they just kept going with the Mary Sue. And these guys are like, no, they're not Mary. She's not a Mary Sue. Luke's the Mary Sue. If she's a Mary, it's like, no. But somehow we jumped into their agenda because that's totally on topic, I guess. So anyway,
completely.
The reason for doing what they do, like yes, a lot of my videos have political elements in it, like that's not what makes someone a grifter, and it's just a lot of people.
Okay, fair enough. If you say so.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, that was unrelated. It's like, I believe in progressivism. That doesn't make me a grifter. It's like, was someone accusing you of because you talked about certain topics?
It does because anyone can realize if the moment you realize that the progressivism that these people follow is socialism, then it all makes sense after that.
There's nothing wrong with being progressive. It's to what point. And I think they're being very careful with their words, because if they said they were leftist, then it's like, oh, look out.
No, it's blatantly obvious.
Well, there's a certain difference between what you call a liberal and a progressive, or nowadays a leftist. So I don't know what that means. They're all the same to me, but apparently if you're too far left, or you believe in redistribution of wealth, or all these other weird social programs, is like, okay, like you just want to rewrite the law books. You just don't like how society is organized, and you think you know better. And you could argue, yes, that's why we have people in power in municipalities to organize funds for a city, for a state, and that is what part of politics is. But some people don't care. Some people are like, yeah, that's fine, as long as the waters keep running and it's clean, the power's still on, and we're paying our taxes, it's not too bad. And then, inflation comes, and then people lose their jobs, and food shortages start happening, and all these other wonderful things start happening when the stock market starts crashing again. It's not going to work out so well. And we're going to have to go back to conservatism, or things that are amiable to producing wealth again. And then we're going to start that downward spiral again. And we go back. It's the same with the countries of the world that are like, was it Sweden? Like they're so liberal. It's like, yeah, but they came from a very conservative background. They had all this wealth.
Yeah, they still have a king too.
Yeah. It's like they started with wealth, and then all these liberal-minded people started coming in and changing things. It's like, yeah, but they're eating off the wealth of the past. And it's going to catch up. It's like everything will catch up. It happens with every facet of nature. And these patterns are obvious, but I hate talking about this shit because it's so boring. It's just like, okay.
That's the cycle.
Yeah, I know. I'm not one of those guys to prattle on about politics. I hate talking about it. But anyway, they're talking about it, so we are.
We just don't get that.
This is what makes someone a grifter.
Okay. I don't get it. He uses woke as a negative, which it is, and hates anything Marvel or DC that promotes minorities or women. It depends
The
how.
agenda, not for actual good quality.
Yeah, it depends how they. It doesn't matter if they promote women or minorities. It's how they do it, how they present the minorities. If it's in your face, like look at me, I'm a young female South American Eskimo from Uganda or something. It's like what? And I'm gay. It's like what? Like why are all these things at once coming at me? What's the point? How is that a good character for a story? So it's kind of like you think you just put more elements into a stew, it's going to get better. It's like no, that's a bad idea. It will confuse your taste buds. You'll be eating everything. It'll taste like crap. Same with stories. You have to be very specific with what you write and how. What you put in there.
Simple. He uses woke as a negative and hates anything Marvel or DC that promotes minorities or women. He's an alt-right grifter. Yeah, that's it. So, like I said, he's literally using the thing that he criticizes nonstop all the time as a deflection.
A black man and a woman on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious as day.
Wait, are you actually taking Eric July saying, yeah, that's it, as that it's actually true? Can you not detect sarcasm?
So
wow.
It's a grift because he has a comic book cover of a black guy punching a superpowered white chick.
Like every single time it has to be racially fueled. Like it's just.
How did we get to comic books? I thought we were talking about Ray.
Yeah. Yes.
Is the chick a Mary Sue or is the guy like what's happening here? Is this related? Anyway.
It's woke.
And what's funny is I like this with me is because we had a moment when I was on stream a while back covering Eric. Oh yeah, her hair is green. Is she trans? Is she one of the alphabet rainbow? If
What?
Marvel put out a book with the character with that hair, they'd be like, look how woke she is. I mean, really, if you put a Marvel brand on this comic book with the black guy and a girl with blonde and green hair, and you put that out, then it's a Marvel comic, they're going to call it woke just by looking at this cover. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Tell me I'm fucking wrong.
You are.
SJW, you know what I mean? And then there's a black guy.
If they know Mr. July wrote it, then they'd be it could be a good book.
So that's the issue. The problem isn't the appearances. The problem is the quality, which is the big two are doing dog shit right now, whereas ISOM is actually legitimately good.
Yeah, this is when I would buy comic books, at least from Marvel back in the day, I'd be like, who's the artist? Because I know the cover looks good, but the cover art is not necessarily the comic art. So you have to open the comic and go, okay, yeah, it's the same guy or not. And it would usually say cover done by X. Oh, okay, fine. So you would get some of the Joe Quesada, like penciling in sometimes. And you're like, ooh. So you get some really cool looking crazy art, and then sometimes you wouldn't. So yeah, no, people like certain artists, people like certain writers, people like certain colorists and techniques. I remember when Spawn came out, and then there was Image Comics and Top Cow, and they were doing all kinds of really glossy looks and not Adobe, but Adobe techniques, and making all this beautiful digital art. So people loved it for the art. So there's lots of reason to buy a comic, and some people just buy it for the writers or the artists. That's fine.
And then there's Liefeld.
Well, yeah, he was interesting.
He was, but at least like he had self-awareness. Like he said, like, yeah, I didn't think that the earlier shit that I did was kind of shit.
yeah. At least like is aware of his reputation now.
Yeah.
And plays into the joke with it. So I'll at least give him credit for that.
Oh,
but
living it up too.
Yeah, it's like he doubles down on us, but at the time, yeah, no.
I'm trying to remember the run with Todd McFarlane and Spider-Man, because that was noticeably different.
That's the one that everyone talks about.
Yeah, I know.
It's a pretty good run. It's both that and the JMS run of Spider-Man. Those two runs were really good. I would say JMS more so than McFarlane, but whatever, preference.
Yeah, totally cool. Okay, we're almost done. He's starting his closing music, so hopefully we can stop talking about
Please.
this.
I don't know how they can justify this stuff to themselves.
I'm so ignorant, I can't listen to the other side's arguments. I'll never have a conversation with them. I hate them all. They will never talk to me. Bloody, yeah, sure, whatever. You know, it's really easy. We could invite these guys on, but they're never going to come, so who cares?
No, what would be the point?
Yeah, exactly. There's no point. Like you could say, look, this is what a Mary Sue is. Here's our list. It'll take us 2 hours to go down the list. It'll take, so there's lots to go through.
Also, they're blacklisted anyway, so what the fuck ever.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's see if we got any stream memes for the laughs.
So, memes?
Yep. What do we got?
And
Memes this.
and we're starting off right.
Okay. Shows the problem, gives the solution. Nice. Good stuff.
Yeah, I can live with that.
I'm okay with whatever I'm looking at on the right hand side.
That one in the middle, yes.
Ooh, boy.
Yes.
Angry sad noises.
Or whatever it is.
Yes, I believe. Let me just poke. Actually, no, I'll leave her alone.
Hey.
No, you can't. I won't do it. You can't make me. Okay, great.
Yes, we can.
I'll say this once: a robot and a heroine made by a bondage artist has more femininity, humanity, and virtue than female characters nowadays. If you ask, LD recommended this comic to people.
Good man. Good man.
He recommends many things to many people.
Yes.
Last one, I made a diagram of what changes they made in Loki, plus especially the one I call He's Who's Kang. Okay. Kang, a future descendant of Reed Richards. He Who Remains, a possible creation of the One Above All. Really?
Yeah, they merged these two characters and race swapped them.
Oh. That is...
Yeah, that's the issue. It's not just Kang.
That's
apparently they're going to set up Kang as like the next big threat. I'm just like, no, you didn't earn that.
That is bizarre. Really?
I mean, at least, well, obviously it's like we probably most likely know the result, but at least in the Ant-Man 3 trailers, I'm just like, at least he seems more like Kang now, whereas in Loki Plus, he's pretty much a clown.
Yeah,
But whatever.
that's kind of sad. One Above All, like all these really powerful beings and stories, and it's just like, guys, just...
Well, I mean, they can't do the One Above All now. Stan Lee died.
Well, yeah, but the same with DC when the Sandman and Mike Carey did the Lucifer run, and he had the Presence, which is effectively God, and it's like, okay, that works within the story because we're talking about archangels and God, so it's like, okay, fine. But it doesn't mean you keep bringing up the Presence all the time whenever you need a godlike character or what have you. It's kind of awkward. It's not part of the story. You shouldn't have like omnipotent beings running around in your story about kids in high school or whatever. Anyway, that was almost 2 hours, and I'm glad we're done because we learned nothing. Their only criteria was they can't make mistakes, which is false. Mary Sue's make mistakes all the time, and their powers are unexplained, or their abilities are unexplained. And that is one of about 60 or 70 or so odd criteria that are on TV Tropes in that link I provided for you. So I'm going to go with the stricter, bigger definition and criteria than theirs, Because if your definition of a criteria for an object or a thing is 1 or 2 factors, you're not going to get too many hits on finding that. So it's going to be too generic. Everything is it or nothing is. It's going to be silly. Anyway, that was a surprise video from blacklisted people. Hopefully we'll never cover them again. We've learned nothing. We've had a good chat, and Whisp is fast asleep. So have a great night. We're going to bed. I'll have a drink later on, but you guys take it easy. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy.